when you look at some of the requirements, I have always been devoted to grow my professional career.
I think, Chair, with your kind permission,
Yes.
I think so that with the due respect to our the person we are vetting, I think your question is very clear, because what is the qualification are we talking about? I believe is the degree. So experience ought now to stem from the degree coming, forward. So I believe that is where we should start, so that actually we appreciate. We've had several other experiences in other areas, including IBC, even before graduation. But now the qualification under the Act, it's a degree. Then from the degree to this ed, you can see in my own calculation it's about 3 years or less. Because actually graduation at the University of Nairobi is around December. So we are yet even in December 2010.
Point taken.
Thank you.
Let us not equivocate about it. You don't have the necessary 10 years post-graduation.
Yes.
So that we are clear. Yeah, this does not mean you fail. But that, you know, we have a lot of experience, but not gained post 2017.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, fine.
Just then, I terminate my questions. Indeed, your CV suggests that your earliest employment was in 2012 as a voter registration assistant in IBC. Would you confirm that was your first employment?
Yes.
Okay.
Mheshimiwa Mutai.
Chairman, for the purposes of Chapter 6 of the Constitution, I'm taking you, Chair, to the clearances from the Directorate of Criminal Investigation. The information reaching Parliament is that of all the applicants, the persons listed is the only person who was never cleared by the DCI. I don't know the reason why, because there's a letter correspondence dated 14th of September 2010 regarding vetting of nominees for appointment to the position of registrar and assistant registrars of political parties. And therein, the DCI says the office confirms that the below listed applied for police clearance on diverse dates and were generally issued a police clearance certificate. 1 Anderi, 2 Ali Abdullahi Shuro, Florence Tabu. However, this office was unable to clear Mr. Wilson Makore Mahochi, ID number 30296683. Police clearance application was still in progress. I don't know if you can shed light on that, or if you have that police clearance with you, you can furnish the chair with it, a copy of it. Because the records reaching Parliament is that you were never cleared by DCI.
Do you have any comments on that observation? If it is wrong, or you have some knowledge why it was not?
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and thank you, the Honorable Member, for that question. I can confirm that I was cleared. I got my certificate on the 15th. I have it here. Yes, I just printed the original one.
Your request for it before when this letter came to the.
So thank you, Honorable Chair. I submitted my request in June.
Yes.
But because of the pandemic, when I visited the office, they were not working.
Okay.
So I also went there last week. That's when I took my fingerprints for the same.
But just so you know, and I think that's what the Honorable Member was asking, Honorable Mutai, that the letter we have from the National Police Service is that they were unable to clear you, Mr. Wilson Makore Mohochi, ID number that application as it is still in process. So I think he was inviting you to comment to that. Because the other interviews we've had, somehow they've cleared. But yours, they are saying it's in process. And I think the Honorable Mutai wanted to know why, if you have any comment on that issue.
So basically, what happened is I had submitted, I made my application, and that application I submitted twice. That is in June. So when I made the payment and also went for the fingerprints, what was processed is the one that I have right now. But there is a one that still indicates still in progress. But when I asked the DCI office, they told me that it does not have any problem as long as you have been cleared, because what you submitted is the ID. And once they get the ID, they're able to check through the system and confirm on your clearance, of which I had already received on the 15th.
Honorable Shamal has a question. Honorable Shamal?
I think, yeah.
Honorable Shamala, you had a question.
Issue. I just think it's not very clear. Why did the applicant make 2 applications? You're saying that you applied twice. Why?
There was an erroneous application. The second one, I checked
a moment. When you say there was an erroneous your erroneous application.
Yes.
And why was it erroneous?
What happened is, when I was making the application, I submitted the first application. Then, when checking the system, I clicked apply again, which is generated another one.
So what was erroneous?
The second submission of an application.
First one?
Yes.
If you applied the first time,
yes,
and it was not erroneous, why were you applying the second time? And what was the error in the second application?
There was no error in the second application. The only thing is that it indicated that I submitted 2 applications with different codes. I submitted 2 applications in the same month.
Why?
So I said when I was making the application, after submitting the first one, I clicked erroneously the second option of apply again, which generated another application. So when I made a payment in regard to the first application, which I was cleared with.
Or an X. You?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mochoche, you see, it is marked some non-disclosure because, first of all, you said it was because of COVID, not because of multiple applications. And as you observe, all the application, the job was advertised during COVID, right?
Yes.
And all the other candidates also applied for these certificates during COVID. Theirs were out without any reservations. Yours, there was a reservation, right? So your explanation is that you erroneously applied double. You had double application.
Yes, but when I confirmed on the same from the DCI, they told me that it does not have any problem as long as they have cleared me. So they follow the one that has been given out.
Very well. Members, you have any? Mheshimiwa Kamoti?
Yes, thank you, Chair. The law as it is that anybody who advances ideologies or interests of another political party is deemed to have resigned from his original party. And this has been a problem in the office of the registrar. How do you intend to tackle this problem for Kenyans? Thank you.
Just noted in your documents, Bwana Wilson, that you are one of the youth team members of Okoth Obado during campaign. And then you are a very active mobilizer of the youth. I think that links up with that. for the individual. He says, I did campaign for gubernatorial candidate in 2017, Honorable Zachary Okoth, but as a member of a youth team with responsibility of wooing voters to support him in that decision, in that election. I left the campaign before the election time and never kept any close contact with him. But it's just about the party affiliation and that you are the youth leader, youth team.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Also, thank you, Honorable Member, for that questions. Let me start with your question. In regard to have campaigned for the governor who was on ODM, I campaigned for him before the ODM primaries. And the reason as why I joined that campaign, by that time I was not doing anything. So I had also served as a student leader at the University of Nairobi before, and I was known by other students. And also there is an association that I started with other students called Kuria University College and University Student Association. I was basically focused on bringing peace in the warring two Kuria clans, which we resolved. And after that, I was known, and many politicians approached me to join their camp. So that's when I was approached by other youths to join them in pushing for the agenda of re-election of the governor. So immediately after the primaries, when he was given the certificate, I was with them partially, then I left. I did not continue being in the campaign. That's when I quitted, and I made an application to work with Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commissions, which came in July that year. So I disconnected completely because I needed to remain a political and neutral to serve the people in another position whereby I need to have political neutrality.
Mohochi, thank you for coming. Do you have a final comment to me?
Chair is not commented on my question. At least a comment.
So, I have it. I can still respond. I still remember your question. So, you asked about when a candidate advances the interests of another political party. And that has been a challenge in the office of the Registrar of Political Parties, and you asked how I can be able to resolve that one. So, when you look at the Political Parties Act 2011, it's very clear that when a candidate advances the interests of another political party, that is one way of deeming the candidate to have resigned from that political party. So best way is to ensure that you re-register that candidate from that political party and allow them to join that other political party which they are advancing their interest for. Because that is what the Act says. When you can deem a candidate to have resigned. And it's basically by advancing the ideologies and the interests of another political party, which is a competitor with other parties. So,
is it your position that when you participated or actively for Obado or for the party, right? You are not active, or you did?
I was active.
Okay.
Three very short. Wilson, in your very extensive CV and extensive experience, you've worked for Red Cross amongst other organizations. You talk about the fact that you participated in food feeding programs for the less fortunate under the Red Cross program. You talk about the fact that under a Norwegian grant, you conducted a study in Czechoslovakia, and you, of course, have also worked with the IEBC when it comes to voter registration. And in your own words, you state that you have a remarkable knowledge in statistical packages. Very quickly, in less than half a minute, when it comes to food feeding programs of the less fortunate in Nairobi slums, on an average day, how many people did you feed? How did you identify where to feed them using statistics? And then I want to ask you about the issues with regards to voter registration. What was the biggest challenge in voter registration? And what percentage of people, if any, stated that they needed incentives to actually register?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, and thank you very much, Honorable, for that question. So when you talk about the people that we fed, when I was working as a volunteer with Kenya Red Cross Society, there is a village in High Ridge whereby there are people who went and fed there, about 300.
Name of the village?
It's just called High Ridge, but it's a small village within High Ridge that is just there whereby we have the slums.
To where in High Ridge?
When you move from High Ridge, for example, Nakumatt High Ridge.
Just on that main road that connects Nakumatt to Diamond Plaza?
Yes.
And to Westlands, just on that road?
Exactly.
Where you have the police station, on the left you take the road to go to High Ridge.
Yes.
There's a village there.
When you go as if you're heading to Westlands from High Ridge, there's a village there. But then another one that we fed, we did it at Mountain View, so whereby we had an organization, there is an Indian gentleman who had supplied
So there's
food.
a village on High Ridge?
Yes.
On that road?
There's a slum. There is a slum there where you have some people who are not.
I can confirm.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So another one that we did was about 600 people that we fed. It was hosted at Mountain View. And the person who supplied the food, personally, I went there to assist in feeding because I was working as a volunteer at Kenya Red Cross Society. That's when I was invited. So 600 people were fed. And personally, what the Indian guy did, he requested people from various homes, the people who could not be able to feed themselves. That's why G-Trends and also mothers in the slums. So they came there and we were just assisting to give out
with
the food.
regards to voter registration, what were the challenges?
So the biggest challenge with the voter registration that I encountered is that most people were not aware on why they should register, especially when we started in 2012 with the biometric voter registration. So there's some people who could come and tell me, I have heard that this thing of a register, it will take my blood. So that is because of lack of knowledge. So that is the biggest challenge that we are facing.
Okay, last but not least, you said you have a basic working knowledge of Czech,
Yes.
the national language of Czechoslovakia. How do you say the word I don't understand in Czech?
I only had the basic knowledge.
I'm asking you, how do you say the word I don't understand in Czech?
Nedobre.
Okay, it isn't, but...
Yes, Vice.
Mr. Mohochi, just one last question. Under your CV, under the rubric Education and Qualification, and also under the forms you filled with the PSC, you list Masters of Research and Public Policy as one of your educational qualifications. And yet, in fact, you are still a student. Do you agree that you cannot fill as a qualification what you are yet to earn?
Thank you, Honorable Chair, for the question. But I indicated ongoing.
Yes, but it's under the education and qualification. Do you agree that you ought not to put what you have not yet earned? Or you do not agree?
Because when it's mentioned about education, that one qualifies. When you talk about qualification, that's when you don't put it in.
Short comment on your observations here, on us, or what you would wish, any comments that you have.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, for this opportunity again. I can say that I appreciate for this chance, and I hope that you consider me for this position that I can have a chance to serve the great people of Kenya and collaborate with you to ensure that we transform our nation. Thank you. No. I'm not disadvantaged because this is a procedure which needs to be followed.
You brought your time from 4 o'clock. We advanced your time.
No, the issue of time has no problem because I was ready for the interview.
If you can confirm there. Thank you for coming, and a good day.
I appreciate. I don't know if you have the clearance from the Office of the Registrar.